Alright, so I wasn't really sure how to go about. I wasn't really sure how to go about doing this whole podcast stuff. But my girl suggested that I tell you guys who I am instead of just jumping on here and just hoping I get viewers. Tell you guys a little bit about myself. So I'll start with where I'm from. My name's James Edward Mason, the fourth. I'm the fourth. I was born in Dallas, Texas in October of 1986. My mom was down there because she had recently divorced my brother's father, who was in the military. So she was still in Dallas, and she met my dad, Southern Pimp, play good dude though. They were together till I was about 5, and then she moved up here to Ohio, where I'm at now, to get away from him and to get up here with her parents because they were here. Because in Ohio, back in the day, it was in between Ohio and Pittsburgh. That's why it's called the Steelers. There was a lot of good steel mills. So my grandparents, my mother's parents, moved to Ohio from California. Really, my grandma got moved out here, and then my grandpa followed her. But yeah, so my mom broke up with my dad. She moved to Ohio to get away from him. He wasn't physically abusive. I guess he was just mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive to her. So she wanted to get away from him, and she came up here. I was about 5.5 years old at the time. Moved to Ohio. At first, we lived with my grandparents on the east side of Warren. And then she got an apartment in a town next to us called Howland. It was a nice apartment, Candlelight Apartments. We lived there. I still go to my grandparents' house. So I was really raised on the east side of Warren from about 5 till about 12, 13. Really, because when my mom was at work, my grandparents watched me. So I was still in the hood on the east side because grandparents, they lived on the street. It was a street with houses, but right next to that was apartments, was the Trumbull Homes. So as a young kid, I rode my bike all through the Trumbull Homes. Got all my childhood friends from the east side of Warren, man. That's where I started getting in trouble at. I grew up over there. We lived in them Candlelight Apartments. I had a lot of fun out there too in Howland. But that was only when mom wasn't at work. So mom eventually got a house. Now we got this house, so my time is split up at this point. Half of the time I'm at my grandparents' house in Warren in the hood. Other time I'm in Howland back then it was pretty good in Howland in the Candlelight Apartments. So now we getting out of these apartments, we get a house. Boom, we fell in love with this house, but it was in a bad area. And at the time we weren't really educated on how bad this area was. We moved on Belmont to this house. I was about 10 years old at the time. And that's where we moved to Belmont. And from Belmont, I think I ended up going to my 5th grade. I went to a 5th grade. That was my 5th grade. That's where before that I was 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Now, I skipped a lot of stuff. I was very athletic when I moved to Ohio. My dad had me riding a bike without training wheels at 3 years old. Not only was I athletic, I was feisty. I was a fighter. I was bad. So I got kicked out of about 3, maybe 4 elementary schools. I'd have to do the math. I got kicked out of Laird, and then I got kicked out of Howland Springs, and then I got kicked out of McKinley, and then I went to Roosevelt, and then got kicked out of Roosevelt, but I was going into junior high. So it was about 4 elementary school. Roosevelt was 5th grade. And right after 5th grade, junior high started, was 6th grade. So, junior high starts. We live on Belmont. It's me and my mom now. Most of the time, it's me and my mom. My brother, like I said, his dad was Air Force guy. So sometimes Joe would move home and stay with us. Sometimes Joe would move back with his dad. It all depended on what Joe wanted to do. Junior high is where things started to take a turn. And I'm going to leave you guys right there for right now, because I'm still, we just touching bases on here. I know that was quick. I know that wasn't a lot. Sorry it's a teaser, but we'll jump right back into this. And it might be today, it might be tomorrow. But junior high, Belmont, about 12 years old. That's where we at. And I'll tap back in, man. Take it easy. Oh, I don't even got it. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. All right, bye.